Welcome to the Fantasy Goons podcast, part of the Pucks Out family. It's time to skip the book and find out the info you need to win your league with Bobby, Davey, and Brandon.
Welcome into the Fantasy Goons. I'm Bobby. He's Davey. He's Brandon.
Heyo.
You can find us on Twitter at the Fantasy Goons. Now let's get you all the info you need to be a champ. It is the My Guys episode. We are just closing in on the start of the regular season, just under a month away. Soon we'll be coming at you once a week. But how are you guys doing this week?
Good. Doing really good. I'm gearing up for hockey. Obviously, football's in full swing now, and we're kind of watching that team. But I'm so pumped for hockey, though. When you get the two connected and you get two, it's hard for fantasy purposes, though, because you've got so many teams you got to keep up with every week. But I love it, though. It's a good time of the year.
One basketball, too, guys. We can't forget basketball's also coming up and happening. Yeah, I'm jazzed up, fellas. I'm jazzed up.
That time of the year.
Ready to go.
We don't have much news as far as fantasy updates, but we're doing our My Guys, and so we're going to jump straight into it. We have about 2 to 3 each. I'll start us off with the left winger out of Ottawa, Tim Stutzel. 29 points, 5th among NHL rookies in 53 games last season. The number 3 pick in the 2020 NHL draft will probably play on top power play unit. We talked a bit about him in the regular show in our Atlantic Division update when we were talking about Ottawa. I really like what he can bring to this team and what he can bring to the league. I don't know what he's ranked going into the season, but I think he is going to be I think he's probably the best, going to be the breakout player on that team. Last year, he finished 9th place in the Calder Trophy voting, and he had a great World Juniors Championship performance. So I'm excited to see what he brings to this team and to this league.
He is not, as far as ESPN, as far as just the standard ESPN ranking, he is not 250. I think that's a great. I think he's a 250 top 250 player easy. So the fact that he's not ranked on here, I mean, I'm just looking down at some of the bottom. I mean, Kotkaniemi in Carolina is the 250th ranked player, and I think that he's a great player. Obviously, there's a lot of stats.
Wild. I would never have thought he's not even top 250.
A lot of stats to go around there in Carolina, and not a lot of. I mean, you have to imagine that an NHL team is going to score points. So I think that.
Well, maybe not Buffalo, but we're not talking about Buffalo.
We're talking about NHL teams, Bobby.
Brandon, why don't you hit us with your first guy?
Oh, I'm sorry. You would put Tom, and it's Tim.
I put Tim on the dock.
Maybe I'm not, okay, first of all, everybody here knows I can't read. I had searched Tom. He is actually 158.
Okay, that makes more sense.
But still, I still think that he has to be, I think that he will be ranked up.
Yeah, I was going to say, that was blowing my mind if he wasn't in the 250. Now, Tom Stutzel, not a breakout player. Don't draft Tom Stutzel.
Don't get him.
Well, I think that he could be a sleeper. So I'm going to go with an on the nose pick, I guess, but I'm ranking him a lot higher than where he has, as far as when you get up into the top 20, top 25 folks, it's a lot harder to move up positions there. Mm-hmm. Going with one of my guys last year, Sebastian Ajo, center for Carolina, the Carolina Hurricanes. His standard ESPN ranking is 22. Last season, he had 24 goals, 33 assists, and 56 games played, 18 power play points, 3 shorthanded points, 148 shots, 52.75 face-off win percentage, a 16.2 shot percentage. Great season last year. No denying that. I think he's poised for an even better year this year. Carolina has made some great improvements to their team in my mind. I think they're a much more solid team than they were last year. I think that the division that they will be playing in this year is to their advantage. This is a big prediction. My prediction is he's going to be top 5 fantasy player in nearly every fantasy format.
That is
bold, but awesome.
It's bold.
I like the bold.
I mean, I figure
I don't necessarily disagree.
If I'm going to pick a guy that's a top 25 guy, I got to make a bold prediction.
You
if
have
I'm
to.
making him
You have
my
to.
guy.
Come
If I
out
was
with,
just like, oh,
he's moving up to the top 24.
Yeah. I mean, his ranking's 22. He's going to be a top 15 player. Well, okay,
Well,
that's not a prediction really.
Yeah.
That's just
Hoping
stating what could be the
breeze goes your
obvious.
way one day.
So I figured if I wanted to put a guy like Sebastian Ajo as one of my guys, I needed to make a bold prediction. I don't think top 5 is out of it. I almost put top 3, and I was like, "Oh, that's really tough." But I think
where
that
are you
he could be
drafting
that.
Ajo in your leagues?
If I think it's hard, I don't think I'd take him outside of the top 5. If I have a top 5 pick and Ajo is there are very few guys that I'm.
So you've got pick
drafting
number
over him.
3, and he's available. But so are the other guys. You'd have at pick number 3 probably.
I'm no go.
Assuming
on pick 3,
assuming Connor McDavid and Draisaitl off the board.
Okay, so you're saying I'm at pick 3, McDavid and Draisaitl off the board.
You get McKinnon.
Well, then it's easy McKinnon. It's
Okay.
easy McKinnon for me.
Yeah.
I'm taking him over Austin Matthews.
I think I would too.
Are you
almost.
taking him over McKinnon, Draisaitl, McDavid at all? If those are if
No.
No. What about Kucherov?
that's man, I personally am taking Kucherov over him.
Yeah.
But right behind him,
That's hard.
would be Ajo.
I would take him over Kucherov.
Okay.
So I mean if I'm gonna sell my belief in it, like I need to.
I
mean,
really hope you get put in that situation. So then you have to say,
I know.
yeah, now I've got to do this.
Bobby,
follows
my
through.
belief is strong. I hope I get put in that position
Yeah,
as well.
we all hope to be
if
put in
I
that
if I get
situation.
if I get pick 4, I think pick 4 is where I'm taking him high. I mean, I'm taking McDavid, McKinnon, Draisaitl over him. That's not that's not a question. I think that he has a chance to go above one of those guys? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised. It would be a thing that I wouldn't be surprised if he ended up being the top guy. But I don't think so. I think that 4 is as early as I'm comfortable taking that risk. It is a risk. I mean, you're skipping over some guys, but I mean, if you're
in a 12-team league, that's a lot of guys until it gets back
a lot
to
of
you.
faith in Ajo. But
Yeah.
honestly, Bond, you and I have always been Ajo guys.
I'm
We're
super
always
big on
Ajo.
I like
Ajo.
Ajo,
You know,
yeah.
It almost seems like we always talk about him at least once, per show.
It's almost like
you know?
we have to. I mean,
yeah.
the dude is 24 years old. Like, this is when guys break out, you know, like,
right.
and he's been that guy for a while. I was big on him last year, and my belief in I had him as wasn't that my early Hart winner?
Yeah, I think
early
it was,
on.
Yeah.
I mean, he was a couple of great plays from possibly being that guy. I'm big on him again this year, and so if I'm gonna make him my guy, I think that even if no matter what happens, he's a top 4 pick to me in my mind. So if you guys are drafting with me and I have eighth pick and you guys are leaving him there, you best believe he's gone. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. I'll take 3 guys ahead of him, and then he will be my pick.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, Davey, your first guy.
Yeah, I went. So I did this a little bit differently. Because these are some players here that not a lot of people are probably thinking too highly of, and they're almost sleeperish, but they're they are essentially sleeperish.
There is
but,
no rules to my guys.
Right.
It's your guy.
So these, I just think that they're going to improve drastically, and not that they had bad years, but they're going to improve. So Igor, Sharon, Govich, name that nobody really is talking about too much. Essentially New Jersey.
Well, because I
Devils.
can't really say it.
It's hard to say, yeah. But like Bond told me when I said when we were talking about Kotkaniemi, he said just have confidence when you say it, and so I've mastered it. So Sharon Govich.
And honestly, if we weren't even talking name wise, like I would be like,
Okay. Honestly, on the main show there was a bunch of different names, and I was just going. Some of them I was just going to confidently, purposely saying them completely wrong.
Yeah, I mean you never know, but this guy, he's got a ESPN rank at 251. Last season, his rookie campaign, he had 16 goals and 14 assists. I mean, not a bad rookie season. I mean, I don't think he's a player on anyone's roster really, but I'd start paying attention to him. He's got first line exposure to Jack Hughes and Kokkonen, which is good. So I know it's the Devils, but I think they might be turning a new leaf. Devils might be coming back around. I know we talked about this a few weeks ago, but I think the Devils might be coming around.
Yeah. I'm going to talk about him a little bit later as well.
Good, yeah, and I love that. So, and I think he's going to get a little more power play exposure. Didn't get much last season. I think he's due for some of that. I kind of like this guy. I think that 251 rank is going to change, and that's kind of why I picked him. So I know it's the Devils, but I love it.
Well, I mean, and we always talk about, it's this bad team. Well, bad teams still score goals, and so if there's less players to do that, then your guy has a bigger opportunity to do it. I'm not as high on the Devils as I think we all were going into last season.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm much big. I feel like they have a few guys that are going to be more fantasy relevant than they were last season.
Yeah, it's a tough team for us to just sit around and talk fantasy relevancy about, but this could be one of the guys on the radar here.
Yeah. Well, like bringing a guy like Dougie Hamilton in immediately makes your offensive line's a more relevant team. He's just that good of a blue liner. So I don't hate the pick at all.
Yeah. Capo Kakko, right winger from the Rangers, underwhelming in his first two seasons, 40 points, minus 23 in his first 114 games. But with Buchnevich gone and under new coach Gerard Gallant, there's opportunity for Kakko to earn a top 6 and first power play role with exposure to Elite Four like Artemi Panarin and or Zibanejad. If you invest in Rangers players like those two guys, stack with Kakko in later rounds, I think he is going to be a solid producer at a value pick. And I do think that he is going to perform well for the next 2 or 3 seasons.
I think that I completely agree with you. I think that he's been underwhelming. I think that you highlighted the biggest point of him being a potentially great fantasy asset, Gallant. I think that is. I think saying that name right there makes him immediately more relevant. Wild Bill Karlsson was not worth anything until Gallant got a hold of him in Vegas, and there was a lot of factors that go into that. I think Gallant and the Rangers are a team to be reckoned with this year.
I agree.
I think that they are dangerous, and we've been talking about that potential danger for the past season or so. Yeah. I love the pick. Yeah. I think it's a really, really good pick.
And I think last season the Rangers really were just Zibanejad was on a cold streak for most of the season. He went many games without even getting on the score sheet at all. I think that changes this season. And once he broke it open last season, he broke it open and came in.
A little too late for your fantasy team, but not too late for Bobby to be able to lock into it and be like, I told you.
Cabo Kakko first liner this year, yeah?
That's a tough sell.
Honestly, I think he's going to be with Panarin and Zibanejad, and so
What about Alexis? What is it, Lafreniere?
I think he stayed. Where was he this past season, on the second line or?
Yeah, I think he was primarily. Yeah.
I could see them switching out. I'll be interested to see what Gallant does.
It's gonna be fun to watch. It is. This team's gonna be awesome, actually.
ESPN Standard Ranks has Kakko at 198. I'll tell you what I dislike about. We don't want to just talk about all the good and why he has that massive opportunity. I don't like the singular right wing tag on him. That makes it a little harder for me to. I mean, where you're going to get him, you're right. Yeah. You're going to steal him no matter where you get him.
And honestly, with a new coach coming in, that kind of stuff could change. We could see by the time in 2 or 3 weeks, because training camp's about to open, we could see
mostly is Yahoo going to change?
Yeah, and really, it could be is Gallant comes in and says, "Hey, we're gonna try you in the center circle for a little bit and see how that rolls. We're gonna switch you around with Zibanejad and see how that goes." I mean, so who knows?
I think if he could get a left wing, right wing tag, it immediately bumps him up 15, 20 draft spots.
It really does.
That late. I love it though. I love the pick.
All right, what's your second one?
My second one, I went really bigger names this year, but I think my predictions are high enough to where I get a little bit of leeway on taking these bigger names. Yeah. Maddie Barzell, I have him. He was standard ESPN ranking at 65. 17 goals, 28 assists in 55 games last season. Only 8 power play points. I think that can improve. That would be best case scenario for him to bump himself up the rankings. 134 shots, 43% face-off win. Only a 12.7 shot percentage, which I feel like that could improve. I liked the Isles last year. You guys know that I love the Isles last year. I feel like they went. I feel like they made me look good by liking them. They went pretty far. He's 20. This 24-year-old should make some improvements this year on a team that I feel like improved. I feel like they brought in some adequate talent to make them a better team, and my prediction is top 35 fantasy player this year. And that is something we haven't seen out of a guy that everybody has been extremely high on. I think that he's going to drop down draft boards because he has disappointed folks time and time again. But again, the dude is 24 years old. He's no Sebastian Ajo. Don't hear what I'm not saying. But I feel like the guy is getting a better feel of the league. He didn't have a fantastic regular season, but I feel like he stepped it up in the playoffs and got that feel for it. So I'm going the old fastest skater in the league.
Yeah, he's a first line guy too. And there's players around him that he can benefit from. And I think the team is confident. I think they're more confident going in now. They've got these young guys getting some experience. So.
8 power play points is very low on the scale of things too. I think that I feel like 8 secondary assists is an option for him this year on the power play. Yeah. And I feel like and they're not a super, super high scoring team. I feel like they could be, though. They have guys there that could beef up their offense a little bit. I think that the one, as much as we're talking up Kakko because of his coach Gallant, I think what does hurt him point scoring wise is Barry Trotz. As great of a hockey coach as he is, the style of hockey that he coaches is not a massive scoring style. So I feel like that could be what hurts me. And now this is one I have a prediction that he's going to be a top 35 fantasy player. He hasn't sold me though. I would not take him in the top 35 picks.
Yeah, we felt like he was going to be too. I think over the last, with him coming up, I think that we were thinking he was going to be a standard, obvious almost top 20. Like he was going to stay there. Yeah, it's just tough seeing players like that fall.
His size. Until he gets a little bit of age on him and understands the league more, his size doesn't sell that point to me. He's a smaller guy, and that's okay. I mean, he can be a great hockey player, but when you don't also have that IQ to go with it, not that he can't have it, I think it's hard it would be hard for me to take him top 35. I think that he's going to be great this year. I would hesitate to take him, let's say, are we talking 12 or 10 team league? I'm thinking top 50 for sure. I'd take him if I had the opportunity. I don't know that I'd go much higher than that. Just because I'm not sure. He's, I'm sold on him. I think he's going to have a good season. But it's a risk for
in a 12-team league, I could, depending on who's off the board, I could see reaching for him late 4th round. maybe.
Maybe.
Which comes right around that 50th mark.
Maybe late 4th round, especially if I'm low on if I've gone wing heavy early.
Yeah.
If I've taken an early goalie or something along those lines. If I'm stacked up on, let's say in the scenario we already talked about, I got that 4th pick. I got Ajo. I don't know how far I'm reaching for another.
Chances are, if the 4th round comes along and you've got the 4th pick, there's a good chance Barzell might not make it back around by the end of the 5th round.
It's one of those things that if you got that late 4th round pick, depending on how big and how many people are in between, depending on how late. You're right. I mean, 5th round is about right for him. He's a big enough name value. The Islanders did well enough that I feel like he's going to be in that weird position that if you want him, you have to go get him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Unless you're at just the right spot in the draft to where he just happens to fall to you. I think that you're going to have to go get him, and I'll go get him if the price is right, for sure.
I'm not overpaying.
Exactly.
Definitely.
I'll overpay for Ajo. I understand.
And I don't even think it's overpaying. You're paying the price that Ajo has.
Exactly.
When he's a 1st round guy,
you either have to get him or not. Yeah. I would still say that based on what we know right now, going up and grabbing Ajo at 4th is probably overpaying, but I'm willing to do it. Whereas I don't know that I'm willing to I'll overpay a little bit for Barzell. I'm not going to way overpay for him.
Yeah.
I'm not going and sneaking up in late round 3 to grab him.
But if the 6th or 7th round and Barzell's somehow still there, you need to take him.
Well, if it's 6th or 7th round, he would have already been taken by me in the 5th round. In the 5th round.
So if it's 5th round and you're before Bond, take Barzell.
Yeah, that is certain. If Barzell, if he's still on the board and you really want him, know that 5th round is my target spot. Again, depending on roster, what I have at that point, but I mean, I think that's the right spot for him.
All right, so you're heading over to L.A.
Yes, and I've got a few LA players to chat about this evening. Victor Arvidsson, our former boy in Nashville.
I miss him.
I know. 10 goals, 15 assists last season. It was a tough year. Change of scenery is certainly going to help him. I think it's going to.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a guy.
Change of coach is probably going to help him the most.
Probably, yeah. I mean, this is a guy who had 2 30-goal campaigns and a 29-goal campaign. So this guy knows how to find the score sheet. I mean, he has potential to hit 25-plus goals this season as well. I think he's going to do it, personally.
I think he's going over 30.
I mean, I think it's strong. There's a strong chance he's going to bounce back this year. There's no doubt about it. His shot percentage was 2nd lowest of his career last season, and so that was a dip. It was 6.6%, where he's usually over 10. He averages like 11, so that was a dip. But I like this guy. I like him. I think he's a solid fantasy choice. I think we're going to see a nice uptick in him. Last year, he was almost not fantasy relevant. You remember that? Like, it was weird.
It was
a lot of injuries.
Yeah,
a lot of,
and that's unfortunate.
And the team and the style of play from the Predators was. I think that's something that not necessarily you fellas are underselling, but it's just undersold on Victor Arvidsson. Is effort level.
Yeah.
That dude is going to give you 1,000% every single play, which can get him into injury issues and problem. I think that LA this year is going to be a perfect opportunity for him to show that scrappiness in a not fantastic Pacific Division.
Yeah.
I mean, we're back to the regular Pacific Division. And I think that I completely agree. I think he's going to eat this season. I'm with you, Bobby. I think 30 goals is a minimal.
Yeah, I could see him hitting 34, 35.
I said 25 plus to be safe.
No. I mean, but 25 plus is going to be a perfect season for where you're going to get to draft this guy.
He's going to be playing first line.
There's a good chance you may get him on the market after the draft is done, depending on what your legal is. I mean,
you could.
Yeah, they have him. An ESPN standard has him at 146. Double positional eligibility, which I do love. You think what you think he'll get first line?
I do. I think he'll go first line. I think he's going with Kopitar and Iafallo or So that's my guess. Philip Deneau might even take Kopitar's spot on the first line. I think maybe a few times here and there. But
well, being your guy, Davey, where are you drafting this guy?
Yeah, that's a tough one because he's not really draftable in my top. Let's see. Let's go. Okay, we're doing. I mean, round 10 is at the point where you're almost like,
just
is he there?
Take a chance on him.
He's going to be probably. That's pretty good. You know what I mean? That's not bad if he's
for
there.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? And that might be a stretch, depending on how many teams are in your league. But round 10 might be
I think a lot of the reasons why he's been taken before in leagues that we are in is simply name value in Nashville.
Yeah, we're Nashville. We have some people outside of Nashville, but most of our home leagues, as you call them, are mostly Nashville based, and so and we don't play with. It's not 10 Brandon Davies and Bobbies who literally do a whole podcast about fantasy.
That sounds like a glorious
because
party.
We love it.
Yeah.
30 of us, 10 each.
It is not a glorious. It's not a glorious party for the neighbors. That is no, but we got guys that go by who that's every league.
Yeah.
People draft people they know, and they know predators, and so predators get drafted.
Yeah, and that's every sport. I knew someone took Michael Thomas in the first round in one of my football leagues because they just going off name value
because they knew who he was, and they're an idiot because I don't even want to talk about.
No,
that.
yeah. I mean,
don't bring this up to me, Bobby. You're getting me riled. I think that in our home leagues, he'll probably still go a little earlier
I think he will.
than we may be comfortable going because, I mean, our ultimate goal is to win.
Yeah.
Look, these guys are our guys, but we're not. We're going to still try to win based on what we think. Yeah. I think that is a great choice. I think when you get into, say, our keeper league where we have a bunch of guys from everywhere, you might be able to steal him later on in the draft.
Yeah, or maybe even after the draft ends, you go in there and you can make some moves and pick him up.
He's 28 years old, so he should be priming right now. You know what I'm saying? These next 2 years should be his big years. I think they should be at least. And I don't know. I'm assuming he's going to go in rounds 8 to 10.
Do you think do you think there's a chance if he's on that top line, he hits that 40 mark, 40 goals?
Gosh, I could see it, but I don't see any Kings.
He would have to have
a
hot streak.
I think there's a non-zero chance it happens, but I think it's very, very low. I think it's very low. I think that a lot of things would obviously have to fall right. I think that he would need to have a massive boost in his power play scoring. I think he would need
and when you think about it, he might have been limited with the Preds' bad power play. Now, he's not going to a great Kings game, but he is going to a bad Pacific where he can feed on some teams there.
Sure.
Like you said.
I think that his power play goal, if he wants to hit 40, I think his power play goal number needs to be 7 to 10. Is that fair?
Yeah. That's fair. I could see them dropping him back to the point on power plays. I could see that happening because he's actually got a dang good shot for a little guy. I could see that happening. And he's quick. He can move the puck quick on the top.
I think the biggest thing with that is he's not going to be able to body somebody if that puck gets taken.
I think
that's going to be my. I think personally, I think he would be I think he thrives when he's right there in front of the net because he's so he's such a small guy, but he's still scrappy.
But I also think that if he's on the point like that, he can get back quick. So you know what I'm saying? So I think that could help. I don't know. This is gonna be fun. I'm excited to watch the Kings
I am
too.
too.
Yeah, I'm so excited.
Because you can put him anywhere. He's flexible. You know, that's what's good about him.
All right, so going back to my last one now, I'm going to New Jersey. Jack Hughes, center, last 11 goals, 20 assists last season. He showed significant improvement. He went from 21 to 31 points in his second year. I see him becoming a mega star in this league. I believe he's a top 20 points candidate. And if he can get some playmakers around him in New Jersey, top 10 in points. Now that's points. So if you're in a Cats league, he loses a little bit of value. If you're in a points league, I think he is. If you can get him right, I'm still debating on myself on when I would draft him. But yeah, I mean, I personally would reach for Jack Hughes. Okay. Obviously,
I don't think you'll have to. I think he's disappointed enough, folks, that when you get that really high draft pick. And then he doesn't pan out immediately.
Yeah.
I think that I think that people tend to be like, oh, well, not him. I'm not going to take
I could see,
him.
honestly, him dropping to like 8th, 9th round in many leagues.
No question.
And I think his value is much higher than that. I think he is going to be, and obviously he's my guy, so of course I think that, but he is a natural born athlete. He is a great scorer. He's got a great shot. And he's just not on a good team, but we've already said we think New Jersey's going to be a little bit better than the expectations are for this season. And they brought in some good pieces, and they are doing a rebuild how you're supposed to do a rebuild, and it's looking good. And I don't know how old Jack Hughes is right now. But he's still.
I can give you that answer. He's 75 in the not 75 years old. I'm sorry. He's 75. He's ranked 75 on ESPN's top 250.
He's 20 years old.
20 years old, right? I think that
He's a baby.
We have not seen what this guy can do yet, and I don't think that we even will in the next 2 to 3 years.
If you're in a dynasty league. If you can trade for Jack Hughes in a dynasty league, honestly, I would go in and I would give.
Let's be honest, though. If you play dynasty hockey, you've drafted Jack Hughes and you are not giving him up until at least 23.
You
but
can't.
If you can find someone who's an idiot, honestly,
we should start a dynasty league, Bobby.
I personally, right now, would give up Sidney Crosby for Jack Hughes in a dynasty league right now.
If you could find someone to do that. I mean, the dude legit, I'm looking at his picture.
Sidney Crosby's also out for like the first couple months
looks
of the season.
like he is 12 years old. And I think even in a redraft league, something that is undersold, center, left wing capabilities.
Love it.
That is killer.
Dude.
All right, so Bobby, I'm going to play a quick. I'm sorry, Davey, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I think Jack Hughes and Sharon Govich, who was my pick, I think they're going to tear it up this year. I think it's going to be a fun combo to watch.
Honestly, I could see Jack Hughes hitting. I could see him hitting 30 goals this season, maybe 35.
This is the most, I think, of all of our picks, I think it's the most intriguing because of his name value. I'm going to play a little game with you, Bob. Will you draft Jack Hughes over this person? Okay.
I thought you were going to say kill.
I'm going to give you a couple. Guys. I'm going to give you a couple of names, and you tell me if you would draft them over. And let's just assume that he fits your team build perfectly. Obviously, there's going to be Sam Reinhart in Florida.
Yes.
I think I agree with that. I think that he has a much better opportunity.
Yeah. I also like the Devils more than the Panthers this year.
Oh, wow.
I mean, as far as fantasy value, not in the standings, but fantasy value.
Wow. JT Miller, Vancouver.
I have not done any research on JT Miller, so I'm going to go ahead and say before, only because he hasn't been on my radar to look him up.
Okay. Let's go. I'm going to go
JT Miller. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, I am too.
Yeah. I mean, if I
especially Cats League, JT Miller is going to be a much more valuable. Okay. This is a good one. This will be the last one because we're not just going to do this all day.
I like this game though.
All right, number 250.
Joe Pavelski.
Honestly, my reaction was that it would be hard, but honestly, where is Pavelski? Is Pavelski still with the Sharks? Where is he now?
No, he's in Dallas.
Dallas.
Dude, remember Pavelski all day long.
Sorry, yeah.
I mean, what was he, the PowerPoints PowerPoints leader last year?
Yeah,
I don't think
I'm
that's
going Pavelski. Yeah,
I'm going Hughes. If we're being honest, I think that Pavelski had a fantastic season last season. In the right situation. We had a lot of injured.
Yeah.
I get, pun intended, a lot of injured stars.
I just like the players around him more. Pavelski
I love the players around him more too. But I would say that I think it's going to be a lot easier for Pavelski to drop into
Yeah.
irrelevance
No
than
doubt.
it will be Jack Hughes too.
How
And
long
that is
ago
going to
did
be
he leave San Jose? Because I feel like
that was his last. It was last season, right?
Okay,
He's
'cause
been
I
in
f-
Dallas 2 seasons.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
I should know. I was like, why does that feel? Why do I feel
Well,
like I just seen him in
basically,
teal?
I was sort of right because it's basically one season because it was two
Yeah.
shortened
Yeah.
seasons.
It was about 82 games ago.
Okay. So I just kind of wanted to feel out
this
how
is
you were really feeling.
Year
about
3
it.
of his 3-year contract. So
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, and mine, and I, and I feel like you guys are just throwing out these dope sleeper and great opportunity picks, and so like I even changed my my prediction on this last one because I went with yet another great player in this league that's already done pretty well. I'm going Alex DeBrincat in Chicago, left wing, right wing. Positional eligibility. Standard ESPN ranking is 40. 32 goals and 24 assists last season in only 52 games played. 18 power play points, a shorty. 155 shots with a 20.6 shot percentage. Shot percentage. Now, I do have the caveat in there. That's an insane number, and that will regress. Okay, so I do not expect 1 in 5 shots that this guy takes is a goal. Okay, I want to highlight that. But I think that's the only regression that we have this year in stats. I think that Chicago is a massively improved team with a lot of their stars still available. I'm sorry, gross. I even have that in
So
parentheses,
what you're saying is
gross.
that you love the Blackhawks this season.
They're actually going to be good. Kirby Doc is going to be sick too. Like I think
fantasy wise, which is a different person than Brandon is as a person, and I have to highlight that, bro. If I could have a full team of Blackhawks and they were going to win me fantasy championships, you best believe I will draft every Blackhawk in the world. I have no qualms about winning championships with players and teams that I hate.
I'm going to cut that up and move that all around.
Cut it up. My prediction is a top 20 fantasy player this year.
Yeah.
I think Chicago's like, I think that I'm trying to look at the way that they're doing the way that they're going at it. I can't decide if they're like, this is our last straw with Taves and Kane, and we got to make it work now, or if they're like slowly doing this rebuild thing, like on the go. I think
that they're doing the rebuild that every team wishes they could do with players like Taves and Kane. They're like, we're just gonna rebuild with a couple of 3-time Cup champions.
Right.
I think of their old guard, if you will. They've got rid of the right one, in my opinion, when it comes to Duncan Keith.
Yeah,
I think they got rid of, and
no
they
doubt.
got rid of him for basically, just not even having to deal with any of his huge contract. They got a Vezina winner in goal. He shouldn't be, but he is a Vezina winner in goal. I think that Fleury plays better when he is pissed off, and now he's pissed off that he's been disrespected. He got stabbed in the back a couple of years ago. He wins a Vezina. He gets traded. I think that I would love to see a Taves, Kane, DeBrincat line one. I think that it would. I think that, and with DeBrincat being the star of the line, but I mean it's a bold prediction in the top 20. It's a very tough sell. I had him top 25, but then I was like, you guys are throwing out like legit options that you guys are probably going to hit. Top 20 is totally possible to me, and I think he's going to do it without a 20% goal scoring on his shot. So,
yeah.
What do you guys think? I mean,
I like it. I think I
really like him.
I don't think he'll be top 20. Something just dripped on me. Oh, that's weird.
Oh, I spit on you.
I don't
because you said you didn't think it was going to be top 20. I hawked one over there.
I don't think he'll be top 20, but top 35. I mean, maybe. It's hard for me to. The Blackhawks are just in a weird spot.
Sure.
Before we move on, that you're talking about your rebuild around players. Obviously, with Crosby and Malkin out for a considerable amount of time, what do you think that does to the value of the players that would be playing around them? Do you think that lowers them significantly, or does that open up a door?
I think it depends on the player. I think a guy like Gunsel increases his value.
Definitely.
I think a guy like Brian Rust, it decreases his value.
Who needs to be fed and needs to be able to feed those guys.
Exactly. I think it really depends. I think Gunsel is a true star in this league that has been kind of shoved to the background because he's playing with Crosby and
that's what happens on that team.
I think it really. I think
he's okay with it. Probably.
Yeah, probably. I think the team in general is in a bad spot because they were built. They needed to be off to a fresh start. They have like a 10-game homestead in the first month.
Oh, that's rough.
And having that without your two biggest players in that metro, if you get behind, you don't want to be fighting from behind and later in the season when you've got a bunch of road games later on. But anyway, why don't you hit us with your last guy?
Yeah, so I did something different here and went with a goaltender. I'm going another King. I'm going Cal Peterson. I just love him. I think he's kind of ousted Jonathan Quick now as the starter. I think that's where we're going to see that fully this year.
Who?
Yeah. So he's got an ESPN rank of 253. I think that his average draft position's around the 174. I think we're going to see that. I mean, it's going to be much. It should be better. You know what I'm saying? I have so much faith in this goaltender and in this core right now that I think this is going to be something different. We're going to see something cool here. He had a 9.916 save percentage in 54 NHL games. Quick was 0.896 and 110. So I mean, it's hard to just talk about the two there, but I mean, this guy should be the starter. I mean, he's proven it time and time again, like we saw last season. I'm a big fan of young goalies in this league coming up, showcasing themselves, playing behind a goalie like Jonathan Quick helps him. So now I think it's time he takes that leap, and it's time for him to be the full-time starter. This guy is the future of goaltending in Los Angeles, and I think we're going to see a big season from the Kings. That's why I did Arvy and Peterson. And I think that this is going to be fun. I'm excited to watch it.
You think the Kings make the playoffs?
Yes, I think that they're going to make it in the Pacific. They're going to be the last team to skate by. That's my guess. Do you guys think Kings are going to sneak in there this season?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, I
think they wild card it.
I think they're going to be that last team that sneaks in the Pacific.
That is a really tough question. It is and I mean, we always say this. Anytime I'm like, oh, this is a weak division in the in any league, all I can think about is that old school fantasy football NFL commercial where it has fans just saying things, and it's like, it's so obvious when they say it, but then, it's obviously before, and all I think about was name a stronger division in the league than the AFC East. Name one, and it was that season that they were all horrendous, and Matt Castle takes them to the Patriots to the playoffs with like 8 wins or something like that, and so it's silly in my mind to say it like that. I just have a hard time seeing they would have to be a completely different team in my mind. And it's obvious that you think that they will be. I think that the Stars. Wow. I think that the Flames were in a bad situation for them last year. I think that they're going to be okay. I would be surprised if the Kings make it.
One goalie I do want to talk about. I didn't put him on my guys, but he's kind of a borderline my guy. Thatcher Demko. I am big on him this season. He burst into the scene in the postseason, taking over Braden Holtby's job, who is now at Dallas. But we saw a lot from him in the postseason. And they added Oliver Ekman-Larsson to help out in front of him. They've got Yaroslav Halak as his backup. I think he's going to be a full-fledged breakout. And I think he's going to be a star, especially in that Pacific Division. So I expect to see a lot from him. And
yeah, I like that. I also think another name goaltender-wise to bring up would be Markstrom. I just for some reason think that he has potential to really kind of
agreed. I just don't see. I don't think that I'm looking over the teams and the divisional alignment. Oilers, Golden Knights, and Flames are the three teams to me in the Pacific. Now, maybe the Kings slide into a wild card. I think the Central's pretty strong. I mean, they have a couple of teams that, I mean, Wild, Blackhawks, Jets, so Blues, Avalanche, Stars. I think that I don't know. They have to get that third spot in my mind.
Give me your Pacific rundown. Who's your top three then in the Pacific? I'm curious. I want to hear.
Golden Knights, Oilers, and the Flames.
You got Flames sneaking in.
Yeah.
Kraken missing.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah. I think that the Kraken's gonna. I think that with the new expansion rules, the other teams figured it out. Instead of protecting,
I think the Stars lined up for Vegas.
Yeah, I think.
Well, I think it was just a not understanding the process where everybody protected their high contract value guys, not thinking about the fact that Vegas couldn't take all of those guys.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then they figured it out. So they didn't leave. They left. There was a lot of available. I mean, Matt Duchene was available for the Kraken to take, and they didn't take him because it just doesn't work out for you to take high value contract. And so all teams protected their youth, their younger guys this year. And so I just don't think, and now we said this about the Golden Knights too. I mean, we said that they were all, well, they'll never do anything. And then they went to the Stanley Cup. So I'm not saying it's 100%. I think that the Kings absolutely could go to the playoffs, but in my mind, it has to be in one of those Pacific spots.
This is my last question. And Kraken or Kings, who has the better record?
Kings.
Okay, good. I'm glad we all agree with that.
I do not disagree with you in thinking that I think that the Kings will be competitive. Yeah. I just can't sell myself in my mind that they're gonna make the playoffs there.
A couple years, they're gonna make a deep playoff run.
I mean,
we're gonna all be talking about the Kings.
it's a great organization. You know, and that's the key is that they're gonna be able to make it. Before we get out of here, anybody have a backup goalie that they think has the potential to steal a role and make a massive impact fantasy-wise?
Yeah. You know me. I'm going Dallas Stars.
I mean, they got like 9 goalies.
I know.
You're just like, one of the 32 is gonna be killing it. I want to throw a surprising one out there.
Jake Oettinger, baby.
And as much as I love and hope this doesn't happen, I think David Rittich in Nashville has a real opportunity to, come in and make an impact.
You losing hope and Saros over there? Or?
No. I think Saros is great. I think that is a real opportunity. I mean, am I losing hope in Saros? Absolutely not. Do I have zero faith and continue to have zero faith in John Hines? Yeah, absolutely. I do not believe in him at all. I think that he tried his best to ruin the season last year, and he couldn't make it happen, and then he just ruined the playoffs. So I just do not have any faith in his ability. So I think that and I do believe in Rittich. I think that he kind of got a short end of the stick.
Yeah, he was one of those hot cold guys. You remember a couple years back in fantasy wise, he was like you grabbed him for a while, you had him, you were riding him for a minute there, and then he kind of fell off. I think he was back up in Calgary at the time is what that was. Or actually he was fighting for that starting role with Smith, wasn't he?
Yeah. And they're in Calgary. I mean, he's 29 years old. I don't really ever feel like when he finally did get his real opportunity, the Flames bring in Markstrom. You know what I'm saying? Like he never really got that real opportunity. So I think he has a good shot of, Bobby, you got one?
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm split between 2.
Okay.
I could see Ilya Sorokin.
You can say both.
Yeah. Ilya Sorokin taking over Varlamov. Or Vitek Vanacek for Samsonov in Washington. I think that those are going to be either timeshares or they're going to be competing.
I disagree with the the Varlamov, only because it is a Barry Trotz run team. I think that he will have to be really, really bad.
Yeah. I also think that Jordan Binnington is such a bad hockey player that Ville Husso, who's no one could come in and take that starting position. I could go in and take that starting position from Jordan Binnington.
I mean, this is bold, but if I'm going outside of Dallas a little bit, because Dallas is just what's going to happen with the goaltender situation, no one knows. But Chris Driedger behind Philip Grubauer in Seattle. Driedger's good, man. He's actually a solid goalie. I know Grubauer's probably one of the better ones in the league right now, but still, man, Driedger, I mean, give him a run for his money. I'd love to see it. It'd be fun.
Was Philip Grubauer a product of
Colorado?
Yeah.
Playing with Colorado.
I think he could be 100%.
Another one, and it's your guy. Cal Peterson can take over for Jonathan Quick.
I think he does this year. I think he does for sure.
Yeah, I don't think.
I think it's like a Pekka Rinne Saros situation.
Well, that, and I think this is just one of those things where technically Jonathan Quick is the starter on paper going into the season.
That's what I was about to say.
Cal Peterson is.
I was like, you're just.
So it's Rinne of.
You're just throwing out the real obvious. I don't think that would be a takeover. I think that would be just what we all know.
Do you think Matt Murray keeps his starting job in Ottawa with Gustafsson and Forsberg behind him?
For now, for sure.
I mean, I'm thinking. I think he keeps it for at least, unless they fall off. I mean, I don't think they're making a change. I mean, I think that I think there's gonna be times when they're getting blown out a couple times that they pull them. But other than that, I mean. The Shark situation, that's all bad. They're all. I could see they got James Reinhart, Aiden Hill, and Alexei Minicek, and they could all be gone.
Do you think that Evander Kane will get any goal time playing some goalie?
Probably.
I think he's going to start.
He's hoping
he's going to bet. He's going to bet against his. He's going to bet against himself.
He'll be doing live bets like when the team's on the other side of the ice.
Instead of a water bottle, he just has his phone.
He's just got his bookie on the other side of the glass. But all right, guys, we will see you in 2 weeks. That was our My Guys episode. Have a good one.
Peace.
This has been the Fantasy Goons podcast, brought to you by Standing Stone Farms. Listen to the boys every week and join in on the conversation on the three majors of social media.